Okay, how is it going, everyone? And yeah, today just wanted to go over what I believe will be my last wave of purchases from Toys R Us over the past several months or so, being that they are permanently closing their doors, which is that's kind of sad, unbelievable for any of us growing up in the 80s and 90s. You'd never fathom such a thing could happen, but it is indeed happening. So yeah, here are just some pickups. And I also wanted to kind of just reminisce a bit with all of you and sort of go down memory lane, some nostalgic memories that I have from the, well, specifically the video game section of Toys R Us. But yeah, kind of hard to believe. And got some cool kind of, not for resale, kind of promotional items down here as well that I'll go over. But yeah, I guess going back to I had the NES as a real young kid in the mid '80s, and yeah, by about the end of the '80s, when that time period rolled around, was kind of looking to kind of upgrade into the next generation of consoles, the 16-bit generation, bold, brave new world, and I remember. At the time, my family and I were living in Fairfax, Virginia, a suburb of Washington, D.C., that area, and can recall going into a Toys R Us with them back in the day, and they actually had set up a TurboGrafx 16 kind of playable gaming kiosk with Bonk's Adventure demoing in it, and a Sega Genesis which had Altered Beast doing the same. And I can recall just really being actually quite blown away with Bonk and quite interested in the TurboGrafx 16. I never ended up actually getting it. With the Genesis, definitely the smart move. Far superior console, so no regrets there. But it's funny because decades later, I got heavily into the Japanese PC Engine stuff. But yeah, no regrets choosing the Genesis over the TG16. But just kind of it just feels like yesterday. It's crazy. It's been so long. I mean, time just really does fly. But this memory is sort of just kind of firmly entrenched into my head for whatever reason, and it's just yeah. We had I had the NES for a long time before kind of upgrading to the Genesis, and yeah, actually had the Genesis for a real long time as well. Another memory I have is back in '94. At that time, my family and I had moved up to Boston, Massachusetts, North Andover, a suburb of Boston, and yeah, we used to, for anybody in Massachusetts, you guys watching, if you live up there in the New England area, if you're close enough to go to New Hampshire for shopping, you do it because it's live free or die, tax-free state, so pretty awesome. And yeah, just things are a lot cheaper that way. And I remember in '94, Sonic 3 was the big game, kind of towards the end of the lifespan of the Genesis, but it's still the system I was playing for many years, and still enjoying it. And Sonic 3 came out in '94, and was interested in getting it. Looked around at a couple of stores, and they were actually sold out. And this was on launch day, and so yeah, my mom and dad, my brother and I, headed out to the Toys R Us up there. It was like kind of right across the street from Rockingham Park Mall, if I'm not mistaken. It's been so goddamn long, my memory. But up there, just across the border in New Hampshire, and yeah, I went in with my mom. My dad waited in the car with my younger brother, and we came out. There was like they had, at the time at Toys R Us, if you can recall, they had these long aisles with kind of the cards, so you pick that out and then take it to the register, and then they'd go back and unlock their vault of treasures and bring out your game. If they had that card in the gaming aisle, that would kind of signal that the game was still available. That each card represented a copy that they had in the store. So got the game, brought it out, and I kind of hid it under my jacket pocket because we had already had no luck at several stores, and then I opened the door, got in the car, told my brother and my dad, oh, they didn't have it, and then everybody, my brother disappointed, and I busted it out like, aha, here it is. So, silliness, but a fun memory, and just so many different memories, and actually, like I said, we held on to systems for a long time before upgrading back then. So it went from the NES to the Genesis, and the next console that we got after the Genesis ended up being the N64, believe it or not. And shortly after that, I actually acquired a PS1 and a Saturn, but I did actually get the N64 before those other 32-bit consoles that had already been out for a year, 2 years. And another memory that's just like, it's super vivid. I remember at that same Toys R Us up in New Hampshire, walking into it, and I'd wanted a PlayStation. I'd wanted to upgrade from the 16-bit Genesis era, and Super Nintendo was a system that a lot of my friends had, and so I played the hell out of it. But a story for another day. I didn't end up getting that for until many years later. But anyway, wanted a Saturn because I was a big Sega guy, and then kind of also wanted a PlayStation, and can recall my dad saying like, "Oh, the N64 is coming out. You're going to be disappointed if you go with those other systems over this. You're a big Mario fan and all that." So, and I was like, well, we really wanted a Saturn or a PlayStation, one of both of them. Don't you always as a kid? But yeah, I remember walking into Toys R Us in '96, and they had, this was mid '96, I believe. The system came out in summer or fall. I can't recall exactly, but they had a demo kiosk with Mario 64, and holy shit. At the time, coming from the 2D sprite-based stuff in the '80s in the '90s, I don't know. I had like DOS, Windows gaming PCs and stuff, so a lot of the first-person shooters were kind of that pseudo, like the id Software stuff, 2D, 3D. But for some reason, it was like, and we had like, I believe Descent at the time too, which is pretty graphically advanced for the time. I could be getting my dates mixed around a little bit, but I believe it was already out. But I don't know, there was something about just walking to that Toys R Us and seeing that Mario 64, just seeing that, just one of those indelible memories that just blew me the hell away. I'm like, yep, okay, my father was right. This is the console I'm gonna want to have. So, just a memory that I'll never forget. Just how blown away I was by how spectacular that game looked. Crazy stuff. And with Nintendo, one of they're kind of infamous for failing to realize that they're shipping too few units for new console releases and holiday seasons upcoming and everything. And I'm not exactly sure why they do that. It's become a pretty short-sighted company, which is why they might not be around forever these days. But I believe they're always trying to drum up some sort of artificial demand for their product line and everything. But yeah, so '96, my family and I are still living up in the Boston area, and just could not find a N64 that holiday season. My parents, just to save their lives, couldn't find one. So the story goes, and my younger brother and I, we really wanted that console for that Christmas. So it was going to be pretty disappointing if we didn't end up landing one. And actually, my aunt, all the way down in kind of south central mountain country, Virginia, little old town, Lynchburg, Virginia, was able to locate an N64 at, where of all places, of course, the great Toys R Us. And so she shipped all of this loot up to us that we were able to open holiday season, Christmas morning, '96. And it was absolutely a fantastic Christmas memory, one of the greatest ones I have from being a child back then. And she didn't just ship up the console, so she got the console, peripherals like some memory cards, a couple of controllers, and 5 games. So it's fantastic Christmas. Like I said, just blew me away. We got a Mario 64, Wave Race 64, Pilot Wing 64, Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey, and there was one more that we got. Am I going to be able to remember it? What was? Oh yeah, it was a Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire, which was a great game as well. So yeah, I mean, tough Christmas to top. Always live long in the memory for me. just just an awesome one. And yeah, I've got so many memories from. Another one going way back. I remember getting Super Mario Brothers 3 when it came out at the Toys R Us. And this is back again before we lived in Boston or in Fairfax, Virginia. And I have this memory. It'll crush you to think about this now. Break your heart. It does mine when I think about it. But I can recall as a young lad getting Super Mario Brothers 3, that beautiful yellow carton box, taking it home. And back then it was like we weren't thinking we were going to save this stuff and collect it. So I can just literally have a memory, just getting that beautiful yellow Mario 3 new sealed game from Toys R Us, coming home and just literally ripping into it, just ripping the cardboard like right in half, like a wild animal, uncontrolled, unleashed, just to get to that cartridge, pop it into the system and get to playing it. So it's just, and I've got so many memories of buying great games for the NES as a kid, the Genesis, the PlayStation, the Saturn, the N64. Ended up getting a Saturn and a PlayStation shortly after getting the N64. So my parents became a little bit more generous in the 90s than they were in the 80s with the stuff we got. But the story for another day. Anyway, yeah, I just love Toys R Us. Got so many great memories, and I'm actually quite sad that the younger generations will never get to know and experience what we all grew up with in the 80s and 90s. But hey, special memories that only we'll have, I suppose. But yeah, onto the stuff. And I live in the the Atlanta area now, and at least the Toys R Us close to me, it is, I believe, closing its doors for good at the end of June. So quite crazy. I've been there several times this month, and at this point it's quite pecked over. I mean, there's not a whole lot left. Most stuff is 50 to 70% off at this point, so I didn't pay much at all for this stuff. But yeah, classic stuff. Huge fan of the old Ren and Stimpy cartoon. Picked this up for next to nothing. Look cool, these little guys up on the shelf. Powdered Toast Man. But yeah, some Funko Jorbs figures. Here's Mega Man, and I got these a couple months back there, and about a month actually back there. So the sale hadn't really started up at a crazy amount of discounts at that time, but these weren't too expensive. Anyway, here's Mega Man, Dr. Wily, Proto Man, and yeah, here's a Funko Pop of Dr. Wily. This was a recent pickup, but I already got him out of the box. I think I paid like I don't know, $3.99 for this. Crazy. And here's the Dorbs Red Ranger from Power Ranger, and this is kind of from the same kind of Funko series as these Rockman Mega Man guys. So this is the packaging that they would come in, just with it says Mega Man on it instead, of course, for these. Here is Pikachu, and it might shock you and astonish you to learn that I have never in my life played a Pokemon game. I shit you not. I know people love them. I'm not sure if they're fun or not. They have a reputation for being good. Never played one, and but Pikachu, kind of a, I don't know, just an iconic character at this point. So this was so cheap. I paid like $2.99 for it. Had to pick it up. Cool little pose. He'll look nice on the shelf. I'm actually most familiar with him from the Super Smash Brothers games, not the actual Pokemon games. It was like, you can see $12.99, but yeah, I got this for like, I believe this one was like, $3.99, something incredibly cheap. Yeah, I know him from Smash Brothers, and I'm not even a huge fan of that game, really, but
these are cool. I got a couple of these, a couple others as well, like a Bullet Bill. It's already up on my gaming shelf, and this is a Shy Guy, kind of a stress reliever. Very nice color to it, and several of those. This is very cool. I didn't even know about these. It's like a really beefy, substantial, heavy Street Fighter Guile figure. It's like die-cast steel. It's pretty awesome. So I'm quite happy to get this guy. Of course, I've already ripped in the packaging. So just seeing the figure here. Very cool, a Knuckles plush, Sonic the Hedgehog. So awesome to pick that up. I actually don't have any kind of Knuckles memorabilia at all. Well, I do now. Let's see, what else do we got? Reach over. Love, love, love. One of the games that really kind of spurred me on to get a PS1. Huge fan of the original Crash Bandicoot, and you know, again, next to nothing, picked up this Crash Bandicoot there, Toys R Us. Awesome one. Just a lovely little bag. Jeffrey peeking over the top, and this is pretty funny. Well, quite a cool item actually, but I'll get to why. It is funny as well. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Pop figures. Never played that game. Last MVC game I played was actually 2. It's been a while, but got a red Ultron, and loved Ultron from the comics. One of my favorite, actually, Marvel Masterpieces 92 cards was that silver Ultron card, and I always remember him in that color. I don't know if he's red here because is he in the Avengers movies? Is that what they? I don't watch. You know, I don't really. Not a moviegoer, not a big fan of Hollywood. different thing. We won't get into that. But Ultron and Sigma, of course, the main man, the head honcho villain from the Rockman Mega Man X games. Very cool. The exclusive. I believe these were only sold at Toys R Us. So another great memory. Definitely save this box. Toys R Us memories abound here. Sigma, and the funny thing is, instead of Ultron, we have Utron. So that was a misprint, and I doubt they're gonna correct that and do another print run for these. So funny memory. But I'll get to, and I'm running out of time on the camera. Let's go fast here. Was really quite thrilled about these. These not for resale, just kind of promotional retail store items that Nintendo shipped out to places like Toys R Us. Sorry about that. Damn camera ran out of space, which really sucks right now because I don't have video editing software ready to go. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get this video created for you to watch. Woohoo, fun. You know, I've been having some computer issues lately. Yeah, as far as these go, just really quite thrilled. This is the main thing I was excited to kind of show you. These not for resale, sort of specifically made for retail shops by Nintendo to go in the display cases and you know, advertise different products, kind of grab, catch your eye when you walk into the store with the nice colors, and very cool on Nintendo eShop. One right here with a nice, it's very sturdy, kind of thick, plasticky type of material. And the funny thing about this is, if you walk into Toys R Us right now, literally you'll see in your local Toys R Us, it's probably just like mine, it's absolutely in shambles. Areas are roped off, you know, entire sections are empty. They'll sell you anything right now, chairs, you know, kiosks, different display cases. And so I, you know, meandering around, walking around the game section, noticed a bunch of kind of promotional poster type of items laying on the floor. There were plenty that were not, like these three. But being that I saw, you know, just the chaos that was taking place in there, I figured, hey, I mean, you know, you probably wouldn't be too upset with me if I kind of delicately removed these from where they're positioned and, you know, brought them up and asked if I could purchase them. So, in the most secretive kind of clandestine manner that I could kind of manage to do this in, I kind of on the sneaky side just kind of took these off. Like this one was up on the wall pretty high up, and it had kind of like a kind of plastic area that it was kind of slotted into here on the edge, and then there was actually, it was velcroed onto the back of it. So it took some doing to get that off and get the velcro off without anyone kind of kind of noticing. You know, like I said, didn't want people to be walking around seeing like, what's this old guy, this 34-year-old guy doing back here ripping this stuff off the wall. Didn't want to draw attention to myself in a negative fashion like that. But and this one was above like where the amiibos and other Nintendo figures, merchandise, stuff like that, where it was kind of in this long metal type of casing, this housing that ran all the way across it. So I kind of ended with a plastic kind of barrier in between here to separate it from the next one. So I kind of had to like get that off and then like managed to like wedge it out and then just slip it out. I mean, amazingly, no one, you know, really noticed that I was doing this stuff. But you know, it's in the end it worked out because they didn't care anyway, and I'll get to that. But here I was really excited about this one. Another like really thick plasticky material, Nintendo 3DS Kirby Battle Royale. Very cool. I just love the colors on this, amazing. And this one was quite a task to get down. It was actually kind of situated at where the 3DS kind of demo kiosk is, so you can kind of sample the game. And you can see it was the holes here. There's these kind of plastic screws, so I had to like, you know, as you know, quietly as I possibly could, kind of get it off of its moorings, unscrew all of those. There were 3 of them on the top, and it was in this large kind of silver grayish plastic encasing, this housing that ran all the way around it with a clear plexiglass in front of it. So once I kind of got those screws off, I kind of had to dislodge the front of that gray plastic from the back of it and kind of get it off, and move the plexiglass out just a little bit as well, and just kind of like get the top off just enough, and the bottom, once the screws were gone, to just pull it out. So hey, I worked pretty hard for this stuff, and nobody really noticed me going at it. So, you know, thankful for that. And I was thinking maybe they'd just give me these for free, you know, and So I walked up to the register with the other stuff I was buying, and just kind of said, well, I told a little bit of a fib. I said, hey, these were just sort of lying on the floor. The truth is that it took me a good 10 minutes to get, you know, all 3 of these out. But hey, they don't need to know that, right? And I just asked if they would sell them to me, you know, or if I could have them, or if they were going for a small fee. And the person at the register was kind of looking a little reticent, saying, oh, you know, I'll have to call my manager. I know that there are certain ones that we're not allowed, we actually have to, I suppose, dispose of. They're not allowed to sell them. And I believe she said they were like Lego and Star Wars, but she didn't know about the Nintendo ones. So called up somebody, and they said, yeah, these are good to go. We can sell these to you. So I was quite relieved, because I really wanted them. They're quite cool. And it took a lot of effort to get them down. So they sold me to them. They sold these to me for $5 each. So I can't really, you know, I'm not going to complain about that. I think first of all, they're worth way more than that. These are not super easy to find. And just for me, you know, I'll always have the memory that I kind of took a little part of Toys R Us home with me, the Toys R Us gaming section, because it's always meant, you know, in my gaming life, or whatever you want to call it, I suppose, had a kind of a indelible place there that's meant a lot to me. So I'm gonna kind of definitely cherish having these adorn the walls of my game room. So yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to talk about. Just the last pickups ever that I'll make at Toys R Us. Never thought I'd see the day. Brick and mortar, man, it's just going out, is it not? And you know, really happy to have these Nintendo promotional kind of rare items to find here, with a lot of sentimental value as well. Yeah, I mean, get down to your Toys R Us. At this point, they might be pretty pecked over, but you know, for us 80s kids and 90s kids, this will be your last chance to do that. So. Sad but true, but happy to have one last great series of memories from the place. And yeah,
that's about it. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm gonna try to get my games rooms finished here. Life's been so busy with work. Get my ass in gear, get both of them finished, do some tours, and put up some gameplay videos. I really miss doing that. I want to get back into the swing of that. And still watching videos and making them. So all you community members out there, post some videos and leave me a comment. I love talking to all my old friends. So yeah, guys, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.
Jeffrey the Giraffe. Toys R Us memories.